And welcome to a new episode of The Simpsons Did It. I'm your host, Steven Skolansky.
And I'm your co-host, Robert Skolansky.
And are we having another flashback? I feel like I'm having a flashback of some kind.
I believe we're going back to the year 1980.
Yes, Whitesnake. Or other 80s rock bands we might hear in this episode.
I don't think we hear Whitesnake in this episode.
No, I don't think we do either. But we are going back in time, back to the past, if you will. And we're going to learn something about the Simpson family that we have yet to learn about.
So, this is Season 3, Episode 12, I Married Marge.
That's right.
Well,
I think we are about halfway, right? Or pretty much halfway through Season 3 now.
Yeah, we are, and a couple episodes away from episode 50.
The Big 5-0!
Celebrate good times. I will. That's all. if anybody Simpsons, you should get that reference. So the name of the episode is a reference to the TV show I Married Joan. Never heard of it, never saw it.
Man, these Simpson writers really love television. They like pulling. So. They really like pulling from things that not many people know about. But I guarantee you, if this was an Andy McElfresh episode, he likes pulling out the stuff like, "Oh, what do you mean you've never heard of this episode TV show before?"
But we're not old like Andy.
Exactly.
So air date. December 26th, 1991. The last episode of 1991.
I feel like The Simpsons missed out on a Christmas special or something.
You're probably not wrong. Or maybe they didn't want to do a Christmas episode, or maybe they did a Christmas episode in the back half of the season.
I don't think so. I kind of flipped through them all already, and I don't see one. I mean, okay, so we got Christmas in season 1. We got no Christmas in season 2.
No Christmas
in season 3. So
they hate Christmas. The Simpsons. No, I'm kidding.
No, but they have some great. Well, that's kind of the funny thing. I mean, we get some really classic Christmas Simpson episodes, in the future. And so I wonder if they're like, well, maybe this Christmas one in season 1 didn't play well. It didn't have the feeling that we really were going for, and they were like, let's just put it on hiatus. But it seems as memory serves, there weren't a lot of holiday centric episodes last season and so far this season. No, there wasn't. And I mean, aside from Halloween, obviously, there wasn't a Thanksgiving one like we saw in season 1 or season 2.
Maybe there'll be a Valentine's Day episode.
Oh, maybe we'll have to check it out.
So, recapping this episode, as mentioned before, in a flashback, we see Homer attempt to land a job at the Springfield nuclear power plant.
So this is how we find out how Homer got his job.
Even though he said he never would want to work at the power plant.
Well, exactly. Who would want to work
the way we was?
Exactly.
Could you imagine me working at a nuclear power plant? Well, we're about to find out.
That's right.
Chalkboard this week. I will not torment the emotionally frail.
Yes. I mean, so we're talking Martin, maybe.
Yeah.
Milhouse. I mean, to this point, we haven't
he's saying, they're telling him to write, I will not bully.
Yes. And it's kind of funny. We get this 91, late 91, where I feel like this is a chalkboard gag for now.
The day and age?
Yeah. And one thing I did want to mention is it seems like Bart's handwriting is slightly neater.
I mean, maybe that's just the animation.
No, because next episode, I kind of think I wrote that down as well. But I think, obviously animation, like just the way they wrote it, it was more like pointy. And these letters are more rounded and, a little bit nicer.
They're getting better. They're learning.
Or Bart just has better penmanship. He's like, you know what? If I'm going to write at the chalkboard all the time, I better get better penmanship.
Yeah, so we also hear a new sax solo this week from Lisa.
Yep.
And the couch gag, the Simpsons cartwheel into the room, land on the couch, and strike a pose. And while all that's going on, Maggie can't do it because she's a baby, and Bart helps her onto the couch, and she finishes off the pose.
Yep.
So
yeah.
You gotta have some showmanship.
Oh, exactly. If you're gonna run into the couch every single week, you gotta be a little flashy.
Yeah.
So we open up the episode with Marge holding Barnacle Bill's home pregnancy test. And it's really funny because you kind of look at the way this episode is like, oh, are we in the flashback already? And no, apparently Homer, his little guys thought it'd be fun to try to make Marge pregnant again.
Yeah, but he works at a nuclear power plant. I highly doubt anything's still... Now, granted, they had Lisa and Maggie, so, I mean...
It's possible.
This is also a really crappy pregnancy test.
Oh, it is. And I think the funny thing was, so Homer's like, they're in the bathroom, and Marge's like, Barnacle Bill's home pregnancy test. Homer, shouldn't we have gone with a better-known brand? And Homer's like, Marge, this one came with a free corncob pipe. Which, who doesn't want a free... It's like a box of cereal. It comes with something free. You got to get that. And Marge's like... and Marge's like, okay, let's see. Ahoy, mateys. If the water turns blue, a baby for you. If purple you see, no baby that be. Well, what color is it? Blue or purple?
It's pink.
Pink. Doh! If ye test should fail, to a doctor set sail.
And so, Marge is going to go to the doctor. She's going to go see Dr. Hibbert.
Which is their family doctor, apparently. Which is so weird to me. I get it, but I feel like in a town like Springfield, an OBGYN would probably be the smarter choice, but apparently Dr. Hibbert just is a jack of all trades.
Maybe he has a better pregnancy test.
Or that, I guess, yeah. Just, here, take one of these better ones. Just pee on the stick, and we'll let you know in a minute.
So when you and Shay had Elliot, did you guys have any false positives or like anything like this where the pregnancy test didn't work?
No, I mean, I guess I wasn't. To be honest, I guess I wasn't too involved in the pregnancy test part of it. It was more just, all right, go take a test, and yeah, I mean, I think that's what it came down to. Was like, we, if it was like, oh, maybe you're pregnant, so we took a test, and then it was, negative, but then eventually it was like, all right, and I don't think any of them were false positives. Obviously, once we did get the positive, we made an appointment to actually make sure it was legit. But unlike Homer, I was not profusely sweating when Shay got pregnant. I was happy.
Well, I love this scene because she's like, well, I'm craving things, and I feel like I did when I was pregnant with Lisa and Bart. And I love how Homer's like, yeah, I'm sweating profusely like when you were pregnant with them. And it's like, nah, I think Homer is just always like that because I don't. Now, I guess there are some men out there who kind of get like sympathy pregnant. I think that's the term. I could be wrong, but like they get like sympathy pains a little bit. Oh, yeah. Or so I've heard. I mean, I don't know. I'm single.
Yeah, I guess I don't know much about that. But I do like, so the kids are worried about Marge and Homer, and Homer tells them she broke her leg because that's why she's going to the hospital, and Bart and Lisa, figure out, well, she must be pregnant.
Because I mean, that's a terrible lie. She broke her leg. I guess you could drive to the hospital if you broke your left leg, but let's be realistic. If you broke your leg, you're not driving.
Yep. But I love how Bart is actually excited about having another baby. And I mean, Lisa is too. But Bart's excitement was like, oh, we're having another baby? We could race them. I mean, well, yeah.
That's what you do with babies.
Well, if I had another kid about the, like, okay, to be fair, if we had twins, hell yeah, I'd race them. That'd be awesome. Especially once they can start crawling. Oh yeah, let's race them. That'd be great.
Oh my god.
And so, I like how just about talking about that, Homer says it's all fun and games for the kids, but he has to do diaper changes and midnight feedings, and Lisa's like, well, doesn't Mom do all that stuff? And Homer's like,
yeah, but I have to hear about
it. And
God,
I like how
Homer's a terrible father.
Yeah, but I like how Homer's like, well, kids, come sit on my lap. I'd just like to tell you, I threw up more times than your mom did when she was pregnant with Bart. Which, I guess if your stomach's that churning for, I mean, as we'll learn, I mean, I feel like, Homer has no job, or not a good job. And, he's...
Also, it's Homer. He probably got drunk a lot.
You think that's where all the throwing up came from?
I mean, maybe.
Homer mentions the band Supertramp when he begins his story from the 80s. Because he was like, it all happened at the beginning of that turbulent decade known as the 80s. Those were the idealistic days. The candidacy of John Anderson. The rise of Supertramp. It was an exciting time to be young.
And as we head into the flashback, we hear the song Logical Song, great name, Supertramp, by Supertramp, which I thought was kind of a nice touch going into the flashback and, getting that song.
Yeah, and
it's actually not a bad song. I don't know if you've actually listened to it.
I mean, I heard it on The Simpsons.
You heard a snippet on The Simpsons.
Yes. So for those of you guys keeping score, the last flashback episode that we had was from The Way We Was, and the year was 1974. Homer was obviously a senior in high school and just graduating. So now we're flashing forward 6 years from prom, and we're entering 1980.
Yep. So 6 years. So Marge and Homer have been dating for 6 years. I feel like after 3 years. Now, granted, isn't there a flashback episode where Marge is in college?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I think we get that. But I don't know if she was in college for long, or maybe she was. Maybe she graduated. Yeah. I guess I don't know if she actually ever graduated.
So maybe there's some college in there. Maybe that's why they decided not to get married right away. And so in 1980, Homer worked for the mini golf place, and he was the guy who spun the windmill. And that's a little surprising because even in the 80s, you got to imagine they have a contraption to spin the windmill.
Yeah, Homer.
No, like an actual, not a human.
He's a contraption. Like Homer is a contraption.
He's not a machine, though.
No. But he's just dumb enough to take the job to spin the windmill.
I mean, money is money, right?
Yep.
He doesn't have kids to support. 1980 is probably a pretty cheap era to live in.
Yeah.
But apparently he's spinning the windmill too fast, and this is why you get a machine, because you can set the speed.
Well, the customers were complaining. They're like, I can't hit it. Well, that's not okay. How is that Homer's fault? The customer should know when to hit the ball through the hole.
But if it's going too fast, you're not going to be able to hit the ball through the hole anyways.
It's called a challenge. Miniature golf is a challenge.
So Homer's manager yells at him, and we learn that in 1980, Homer was 24. So when him and Marge met, he would have been 18.
So at least the math is starting to add up correctly.
A little bit. And so we go back to the present day because Homer's like, he kind of did a rappy thing. And Lisa, Bart, and Maggie go outside to play croquet. And they left because they thought he was done with his story about Bart's like, well, I thought your story was done. I thought it was about how you overcame turning a windmill. And so Lisa says, don't blame us for their short attention spans because all they do is watch TV. And Homer yells at them for blaming their short attention spans on TV.
Yep.
Which, to be fair, I mean, kids have short attention spans regardless of decade.
Yeah, I mean, my kid's attention span is, obviously he really hasn't started watching TV like we have.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you, it's crazy to think about. My kid, I know they said toddlers have really short attention spans and they jump from thing to thing, but you get my kid doing something like playing with cars or whatever, and he won't stop, which is kind of crazy. But like me, I'll be watching TV. I'll be 5 minutes into the TV and I'll be like, oh, I want to see what's on my phone. It's kind of crazy to think, oh my God, my attention span's that short that I can't go more than 5. Okay. Now this was a couple months ago, but I lost my phone. I couldn't even go 24 hours without having withdrawals from not having my cell phone.
I really have to, cause I binged watch, Mandalorian because I hadn't watched it yet. and I really had to sit there and watch it. And there were a couple episodes, not for like too long, but like there like for like 2 minutes where I was on my computer, I was on my phone, and technology is now granted, when they left, they went to go play croquet.
Yes.
Which I guess the Simpsons have a croquet set. So, I mean, they thought the story was done.
Oh, yeah.
See ya. And so Homer sees Maggie, and Maggie tries crawling away, and Homer's like, nope, you're going to listen to my story. And, she's a baby. What else is she going to do? And so he starts his story over again and tells Maggie that Marge lived with her evil sisters, Patty and Selma.
2 wicked sisters.
Marge has shorter hair than at the prom.
Which is so weird. So either she got it cut, or because her hair was tall, like standard Marge hair.
No, I think in the way it was the same height as this episode.
No, I think I'm just gonna look at a screenshot of it just to see. And
I don't know. I think it's just an animation flaw.
Maybe, or no. I mean, maybe she cut it. I mean, I guess to be fair, maybe she got a haircut. People get haircuts.
Yeah.
But she liked the style from prom. So
yeah. So anyways, Homer goes. So the Patty and Selma are kind of making fun of Homer, and Homer goes to pick up Marge for their date, and all he does is honk and yell at her to get out. Like, why is Marge with Homer?
Because she sees something in him that no one else does.
I don't know what it is, but their date, they go see The Empire Strikes Back, which phenomenal movie. It originally came out in May 21 of 1980. And we also see outside of the theater a poster for the movie Space Mutants.
So that must have been Space Mutants 1.
Yeah.
So I do like how we don't necessarily learn that Homer is a Star Wars fan, I guess. Like, it's kind of cool to think of Homer as a, nerd, I guess. Or, I mean, I guess I don't know how it was in the 80s for sci-fi. Like, I guess there was a good chunk of sci-fi out, but
I think when it originally came out, I think our dad went to go see it. I think.
Oh, yeah.
So.
But yeah, so Marge.
You don't have to be a nerd. You don't have to be a nerd to enjoy Star Wars.
You kind of do.
It just helps.
Yes. So I like how as they're walking out of the movie theater, and Marge is asking Homer if he's thinking about the future. And he's like, "You mean when apes will become our masters?" And I like how Marge's like, "Well, I don't think mini golf is a very stimulating, job." And Homer says, "Well, it gives me time to think about
what?
About girls. I mean, no, boys. I mean, you."
God. Oh, Homer.
I mean, come on. They've been dating for 6 years, and Homer has the gall enough to say that. Which is.
But then she just forgives him. Like, he didn't say girls.
I know. It's so weird. Or boys. I mean, after that, I'll be like, okay, I'm out.
Well, you don't know. Maybe Homer's bisexual.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Probably not.
And so I love how when they're walking out of the movie theater, Homer's like, "Who would have thought that Darth Vader was Luke Skywalker's father? What an ending!" And I was like, and as they were leaving, they were playing the Rebel March song from when Darth Vader walks onto the ship. Yeah. I just thought that was hilarious. Like that was now. I mean, for any movie, I'm talking like any movie, doesn't matter what it is. Giving up a spoiler as you're walking out of the movie theater, obviously that's a no. But
I'm surprised he wasn't murdered.
Yeah, in 1980 for Empire Strikes Back, I mean that, for all intents and purposes, I have to say that is like the ultimate spoiler almost.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Like, if you guys out there can tell me pre-Empire Strikes Back, if there is a bigger spoiler in movie history, I would actually like to hear your thoughts on that. But I am going to go out on a limb and say 1980, Empire Strikes Back, Darth Vader being Luke's father, biggest spoiler ever.
Well, so, it's funny because when they put The World's End, which is the guy from Hot Fuzz. I can't think of his name. Simon Pegg. It was the third movie in their Hot Fuzz, Shaun of the Dead, and the World's End trilogy. Well, Netflix put it on, and they showed the end of it in their like preview videos, and people were pissed. But that was an older movie, and like it's like all these like 15 and 16-year-old kids like, how dare you spoil the end of the movie? And it's just like, this movie's been out.
So
people, except for this is 1980 and it's not a premiere, but you know,
yeah,
you don't spoil the movie.
Yep. And so as they're walking away, we get a pretty classic line from Homer. Mm-hmm. It's like, Marge, you're as pretty as Princess Leia and as smart as Yoda. I mean, hey man, if you want to get laid tonight, that's a good way to do that.
Yeah, it is.
And so as they're driving along in their car to where God knows where they're going, who knows? But we see Homer has a bumper sticker on his car that says "Disco sucks," which I could have sworn in the 70s Homer was actually a fan of it. Maybe,
I don't know.
I guess I don't know. I'm trying to remember from when Abe was talking to Barney and Homer at the house. I can't remember if Homer was dissing disco at that time too, in the Way We Was episode. But we also see that Homer has a chain link steering wheel.
I mean, you're in the 80s.
I guess I didn't know that was an 80s thing.
I don't know.
Like, do you literally have to remove your steering wheel and put in a brand new steering wheel like that?
Yes, you do.
Maybe I guess Homer knows how to work on cars, I guess.
Maybe.
And so as they're driving along, they sing "You Light Up My Life" by Debbie Boone.
Never heard of it.
I don't know if that's a Homer's type of music either. I know disco sucks, but I didn't think that was necessarily Homer's type of music either.
Maybe it's Marge's.
Yeah, and then Marge, after they're done singing, it's like, oh, that's our song. And I'm like, if I was Homer, I'd be like, can we get a new one? I don't know if I want
so,
that.
as they're driving, you don't see a whole lot. Where are they driving?
I mean, the next scene, obviously, they're at the mini golf course, so maybe they were driving there. Maybe they're just going out on a friendly middle of nowhere drive somewhere. Just to.
I mean, granted, they've been dating for 6 years, so Marge obviously feels safe.
Yeah,
but that's really weird.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever just gone for a drive through the country, but maybe in the 80s, since there wasn't anything really to do like there is today.
Yeah.
Then maybe they just going for a cruise is what they do.
Yeah, and so Steve just mentioned they were driving to the mini golf course to have some drinks, and their choice of drink is Champale, which for any of you out there that doesn't know what it is, because I've heard the word a lot and I've heard Champale, but I knew it was liquor, I knew it was booze, but I didn't know what kind of booze. So it is a brand of malt liquor brewed with yeast, more commonly used in wine fermentation to produce a beer resembling sparkling wines in taste.
Yeah.
So that is what Champale is.
Yeah.
And so, they're in there, they're drinking, and they're kind of feeling frisky, and Marge is a little worried they're going to get caught.
Yeah.
And I love how Homer's like, well, the castle is impregnable. And I'm sure it's not. I'm sure somebody can break into that castle and catch you guys doing the do.
Well, I'm thinking it's just like cardboard or really cheap drywall or something.
Yeah.
But I like how Marge's like, Homer, maybe it's the Champale talking, but I think you're pretty sexy.
I think it is the Champale talking. And I love how, like, on the outside, there's some random guy playing mini golf. And
I thought the place it kind of looked like the place was closed for the evening. And Homer obviously
maybe it's the owner.
Maybe just going around playing some mini golf.
I mean, I'd do that if I own a mini golf course.
Yeah, you could cheat as much as you want. No one will care.
Exactly. And I love how the fact that, so Marge and Homer are getting frisky and the guy shoots and scores and gets it. Now, this is where I don't think it's the owner, because the guy gets a free game and he celebrates it. Also, I feel like the whole him hitting the ball into the free game hole is a euphemism of what Marge and Homer are doing in the castle.
Oh yeah, because it's impregnable.
Yep. And so after that, I'm going to assume at least a couple months have passed, because Homer is at Barney's watching Charlie's Angel, eating raw cookie dough when Marge calls Homer and tells him that she is pregnant.
Well, no, I mean, you would know if you're pregnant within, well, first of all, you would not have your period that month, so you would know
so at least
within
2 weeks.
Yes, probably 2 to 4 weeks, one way or the other. You would probably know.
Okay, so not a couple months.
No.
So yeah, so but at least a couple weeks have passed.
Yes,
since their little romp in the castle.
Yep.
And Barney has a tiny TV on his cable spool. I forgot about his cable spool table.
Yep, but I like how his TV is super tiny. I mean, I guess it's the 80s. Yeah. They probably don't have much money.
Yeah. And so, but we do also see, so this is, and we'll talk about it a little bit later because there's a whole money issue. Marge is a waitress at Burgers.
Yeah, that's a good name for a restaurant. I like that.
Burgers.
Where
do you want to go to eat? Burgers. Are you? Do you want 2 burgers or?
Are you sure that's not the Little Caesars slogan? Pizza. Dude, how is there not a burger joint right now with the slogan burger?
I don't know, but the first burger is spelled with an E and not U.
Yeah,
because it's probably the guy's last name or something like that.
That makes sense.
And so I love the fact that like right after Marge tells him she's pregnant, that he like just squeezes the cookie dough and it like shoots out of the packaging.
Yep.
Because he's shocked.
It's like, oh, I didn't know I was that good.
And so they go see Dr. Hibbert, who is their doctor, and he's got a huge afro because it's the 80s.
Yeah. Well, that would be more of a 70s thing, but it kind of transfers to the 80s.
And so he tells them congratulations. And I love this because he's like, oh, congratulations. And Homer goes, dough, really loud. And there's some guy in a body cast down the hall and he goes, oh, poor guy. Like you feel like, now here's the thing, the guy in the body cast doesn't know what's happening in that room.
Yep.
And like, yeah, you could probably feel bad for him, but if he knew why Homer was yelling dough, I highly doubt he would have said that.
Yeah.
So after that, Hibbert gives them a pamphlet titled "So You've Ruined Your Life." Did you get that pamphlet when you and Shay got pregnant, or no?
No, I don't think that was standard literature for the doctors to pass out when you got pregnant.
Did you guys actually get pamphlets, or did you guys buy books or anything? Or?
Yeah, we bought Shay bought baby reading books to read, and she's like, "You should read these," and I'm like, "I've watched enough TV and movies to know how to take care of a kid." That's where I learned a lot of my things.
I mean, your kid is still alive. He's healthy. So you guys are doing something right.
Yeah, that's basically the number one task of being a parent.
Keep him alive.
Keep him alive. Your kid's still alive. You're doing something right.
And so Homer goes back to his dad's house to Abe, and he tells him about the pregnancy. And Abe tells him, he should marry Marge. And honestly, I kind of agree with the way Homer responded. He goes, "Oh, is it because is it because it's the honorable thing to do? Because he knocked her up."
Yeah.
But Abe's response was, "No, because you can't do any better." Which I agree with Homer's response, but I also agree with Abe because I don't think Homer could do better.
Yeah, I mean that was kind of the big thing though in the past. Like nowadays, I feel like it's not as commonplace to be like, "Oh, we need to get married." But back then, 70s, 80s, even 90s, like, hey, you knocked a girl up, you got to get pregnant and then get divorced 3 years later because you couldn't handle it.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's a fun little look in the life. And Abe is right. Homer can't do better, but Homer is also right because it is, I mean, in the 80s, it's an honorable thing to do. Nowadays, if, you accidentally knock up a woman and, she doesn't want you in the life of her child?
Yep.
Well, I mean, okay.
And so looking at where Homer and Marge are parked now, so after
Is that a makeout point?
I would assume so, Springfield's makeout point. It's probably up by where the weather vane thing is that Homer likes to beat up, which we'll learn about later. And it looks like the power plant in the outskirts of town, so they're a little bit farther. I'm guessing that's where Mountain Spring, like, not, I mean, I guess I wouldn't call it Mountain Springfield.
But here's the thing, if you look behind the power plant, there's more mountains.
So maybe, well, remember, they're in Utah. They're surrounded by the Rockies.
I mean, they might be in Utah.
At this point, I'm going to go with, man, if they're surrounded by mountains at this point, I'm gonna go out on a limb, say West Coast Rockies somewhere.
And I didn't think the town of Spring. Now, granted, it is the town of Springfield, and it doesn't look that big.
I mean, it kind of does. Lights everywhere.
It's a little spread out. I don't know. It didn't look huge.
Well, no.
I mean, it looked like it was smaller than, like, say, Green Bay.
I don't know. Maybe. I guess, have you ever seen Green Bay from a high vantage point?
I've looked at a ton of maps in my life.
No. You got to look at, like, I've looked at LA from a high point. And it doesn't look horrible, like the downtown. Obviously, LA is a huge place, but just from the high point of, like, if you're up on Mulholland Drive or something, looking down from the mountains or the hills down onto the city of Los Angeles, it doesn't look super massive. Now, granted, I'm just looking at downtown LA.
Yeah.
But it doesn't look as big as you were, like, close up.
Yeah. I guess that makes sense.
So, Homer has to ask Marge something because, you know, he's going to do the honorable thing. But he's like, well, if you say no, it'll make me feel bad and a criminal. And
how does her... okay, so he says this, and I'm trying to get into Homer's mind here. I can understand how it would make him feel bad, but how would it make him feel like a criminal? Because
he knocked up
the whole pregnancy?
Yeah, he knocked someone up. He feels super bad. I don't think it's legitimately a criminal, but he feels like, man, I did something horrible, and now you have to live with the consequences of it.
Okay.
I mean, that's really the only thing I could think of. So
but Homer it's not a criminal offense, though,
no, it's
to
not.
knock somebody up.
So I like how Homer wrote down his proposal on a card, and now he lost it. Like, you would keep it in your pocket or something.
He did. He put it in his pocket, and it fell out.
Horrible pockets. And he starts digging around his car and Marge finds it. I love how she just reads it out loud, like, not saying, oh, is this it? And
she did. She's like, well, I found something. And Homer asked her to read it.
Oh, yeah. Can you read it to me? Marge, from the first moment I saw you, I never wanted to be with anyone else. I don't have much to offer you except all my love. Will you marry me? And,
that's cute. That's
sweet. That's really good. And then she's like,
yes, I will.
She's like, no. He's like, Homer's like, yeah, that's it. And
give it to me.
Give it to me. Give me back the card.
Because he's gonna read it again. Like, she already read it, bro.
Like... Yeah, I know. And then so he's like, well, will you? And Marge, agrees to marry Homer. And he's like, woohoo, yeah, she's gonna marry me. In your face, everybody.
And then he starts, like, honking the car horn. He's excited.
I know. That's the only car horn I know that the headlights flash when you honk it.
So, I've seen that in a few other things.
I know.
If you honk it, but I've never actually seen it in real life. So if there's anybody out there who who's a car guy and, like, works on cars and maybe buys and sells cars, whatever, if you've ever seen a car do that in real life, I would really like to know, because I have never seen it.
Nope. And so I like how we cut back to the present day, and Lisa and Bart are back in the room. Like, they got bored, their attention span got so bored playing croquet that they decided to come back into the house and listen to more of Homer's story. And Lisa's like, hey, if the new baby's a girl, can we name her Ariel?
A reference to Little Mermaid.
Yep, and Bart's like, well, if it's a boy, I'm going to name him Cool Mo D. Simpson.
And for those of you who don't know, Cool Mo D is a rapper.
Yeah. I never
heard of him either.
Yep, and I love
that's such a weird reference to throw in there.
I feel like the writers just have like a book of obscure references that they go off of.
Maybe Cool Mo D was big in the early 90s, late 80s.
Yeah.
I never heard of him.
No. And I like how Bart and Lisa just argue over the names.
Ariel, Cool Mo D. Ariel, Cool Mo D. Ariel. And then Homer tells the kids, you and me and your mom used to argue over Bart's name all the time like that. And I love how the kids just bolt out of the room.
Yep. just leave. Like, okay, you know what? We're done with this part of the story. We're out of here.
And so Homer says it was 10 years prior, which would make the time that he is telling the story 1990. Because remember, they got pregnant in 1980.
Yep.
So is this like the time they are stuck in? Because again, they don't age.
No, so and obviously
so are they stuck in 1990, but then they get like all the upgrades of all the decades.
Yeah, that's what it seems like. They're like, hey, you know what? We're gonna upgrade your time frame. Maybe it's like a multiverse effect or something. Like time doesn't like their body don't age from 1990s. Like they're always the same age, but the multiverse effect flows into their time stream and they get all the new gizmos. Yeah.
Because I'm pretty sure in the new seasons they have smartphones.
Oh yeah.
We see them get computers
and
upgraded cars, and so they're stuck in 1990, but they get all the new technology.
Well, no. I don't think, maybe they're not stuck in 1990. Well, maybe they are, because you're right. It's like if it's 10 years sooner, then I guess, to be fair, I guess they would be stuck in 1990, but get all all right, guys. I don't know. Okay, this is the first I'm hearing of this theory. If you guys want to chime in on this theory at all, they're stuck in 1990. I think we're gonna put a pin in that. If you guys think they're stuck in 1990, you guys let us know.
But the weird thing is, we do see flash forwards.
Yes, but the flash forwards are like, but maybe, I don't know. Maybe they're, I don't know. I guess I can't.
Are they just just
imagining
in their minds?
Yeah, maybe it's just all. Maybe they're imagining the flash forwards, but they don't realize they're stuck in a time constraint and they can't go anywhere.
Yeah. So if anybody out there would like to tell us what you think of our 1990, they're stuck in 1990 theory, let us know, and maybe we'll read some comments on our next podcast.
Yeah.
So Lisa and Bart run away when Homer, I already said that. And Homer and Marge, so we're back to 1980, and Homer and Marge go to Family Jewels to pick out, I'm assuming, either an engagement ring or a wedding ring.
Yeah.
Because we see later that Marge loses the ring, but that's got to be a wedding ring, right?
Were they? Yeah, they were married, so it would have been.
Yeah, they were married.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's a wedding ring.
Now, isn't Family Jewels? Family Jewels was an old reference too, isn't it? Like,
it's a euphemism.
No, I know that, but wasn't there a Family Jewels in a previous episode? Have they already been there or made mention of that?
I don't think so.
No, might have to go back and check. I think they did for some reason.
I don't think they did, but maybe they did. So Marge asks Homer what he thinks of the name Larry for their child, if it's a boy. And Homer doesn't want that name because he's like, well, kids will call him Larry Fairy. And then she goes, well, how about Louie? Screwy Louie, Bob, Slob, Luke, Puke, Marcus, Mucus.
What about it doesn't even rhyme?
And then she goes, well, what about Bart? And Homer's like, let me see. Cart, Dart, Yart. I don't see any problem with this name. Homer, tap on the shoulder, fart.
Yeah.
Fart rhymes with Bart.
He missed on that one.
Well, like Steve's a good name because there's nothing rhymes with Steve.
Yeah.
I mean, I could call you a sieve, but that's not really a rhyme.
No. Kind of like Marcus Mucus.
Well, I'm Robert, so Slobbert, I don't know. I mean, people do call me Rob and Bob. So Homer, you would not like my name.
Yep.
And so, Homer and Marge pick out a ring, and the guy's like, well, how are you going to pay for this? And Homer goes, I don't know. And well, he doesn't do the birds. I don't know. He's just like, I don't know.
Well, he's like, I don't know how I'm going to pay for this. I have a job at a freaking mini golf course.
And so after that, Homer is telling the kids they didn't have a lot of money, so they decided to cross state lines to get married at a cheap hotel on the other side.
I don't think it was a hotel. I think it was just a shack.
Oh, did I say hotel? I didn't mean to say hotel. They got married at like one of those wedding chapels that you see in Las Vegas. And the name of the wedding chapel.
All right. So if they're driving across state lines, that would be Nevada. Because remember, at the end he gives them some chips to spend. So if they're in Utah and they got to drive across state lines to get married, and remember, gambling wasn't. Remember when we talked about the casino episode? I'm going out on a limb. I mean, I might be wrong, but I'm saying Utah is the closest answer we've gotten so far. Aside from, I guess lakes would be the only thing. Lake Springfield. I don't know if there's a. Well, I guess there's got to be some sort of lake in Utah too. Anyways, let's keep on going.
And so they got married at Shotgun Pete's.
Yep, and weddings cost $20, and photos cost $50.
That's not bad.
No, that's a pretty cheap wedding. Hurry. Yeah, and they kind of made some of their money back because they gave them $10 in chips.
Yeah, which is nice.
Yeah,
and so I do like the fact that their marriage license is a punch card.
Yeah, he's like, this marriage is gonna last. He's like, they all say that. And so I like how the clock on the back wall while he's doing the vows and stuff, it literally time lapse for 3 minutes.
Like why? Why did they have to do that?
To show how short getting a shotgun wedding really is.
Because I do like the fact. I think you said the dice are the numbers on the clock.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which was kind of cool because
that's a pretty cool clock.
They're probably in Nevada.
Yeah.
I'm still confused on why they did a 3-minute time lapse.
Because it was funny to show how short shotgun weddings are. And so now they're married, and I like how because they give them chips to use in a casino.
Yeah.
And if this was in like I'm saying, if this shotgun wedding chapel was in Springfield city limits or, something like that, then only the newest casino I personally know of is the one that Burns builds, a few seasons from now. I don't think there is a casino in the state that the Simpsons live in, which leads me to believe that they are. I'm pretty sure
it's illegal to gamble in Utah.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm saying it's the only thing I could think of. Yeah. So I like how when they go back to Patty and Selma's house because apparently they can't stay with Barney at at Homer's place, and I like how they're kind of saying, "Oh, it's my first night together," and Patty or Selma yells down to shut up, and you kind of pan away, and they're sleeping on 2 separate couches, kind of holding hands.
Yeah.
And so I like how Marge is, worried about how they're going to afford everything because they're like, she's kind of. I love how on the calculator makes no sense. She goes from like $300 to $600 and then down to like $200. It was really weird, her math on the calculator. And Homer comes in with some baby monitors. He's like, Homer, baby to Marge, wah, wah.
Did you do that with your baby monitors when you first bought them?
We didn't have baby monitors.
Oh, you had the video.
Yeah, we just monitors. Had a camera so we could hear them in the room. Because cell phones, man.
Yeah. Now here's the thing. After seeing Homer do that, are you a little jealous that you didn't get the voice monitors, that you could do that?
I mean, it'd be kind of cool to have walkie-talkies in your house.
I know you would have done that. If you guys had just gotten the voice monitors, I know you would have done something like that.
Maybe. I maybe could see myself doing that. Who knows? But yeah, so, obviously Marge is worrying about how they're going to afford all these things. And Homer's like, working at the putt-putt place isn't going to do it. Well, maybe I can apply to the nuclear power plant. And Marge is worried that working at the nuclear plant will make him sterile. And Homer's like, now you tell me.
Like, you can't just go, oh, yeah, maybe I won't apply. Like, he hasn't applied yet. He hasn't gotten a job. He could be like, oh, it can make me sterile. Maybe I'll look for different work. But, like, in his mind, he's already like, come on, Homer.
Well, no, he's just like, man, you should have told me, like, 6 years ago when I thought about working at the power plant. We would be in this situation right now.
What? He never decided to work at the power plant.
No, I'm saying he threw away the pamphlet. Because he didn't think he could work there. But if Marge would have talked him into working at the nuclear power plant 6 years ago when they were dating, they would be in this situation.
I misunderstood that scene.
Yeah.
I thought Homer didn't want to be sterile.
No, he wants to be. He wants to be sterile so he would be in this situation.
Yeah, okay.
That's why he was like, sense. Now you tell me.
Okay, now that makes sense. Now it all makes sense.
Come on. And so you see Homer and then two other guys in the lobby waiting to get their interview. And so Smithers comes out, and we learn that Smithers was once a member of the Alpha Tau fraternity. Man, you just learn so many random things with, just so many just random tidbits you kind of learn throughout The Simpsons. And just, apparently Smithers was a frat guy. Kind of like, wasn't Ned Flanders was in a fraternity too? Yeah. So it's was everyone in Springfield in a frat?
Except for Homer.
Yeah.
And it turns out one of the guys waiting for an interview was in the same fraternity as Smithers, and the other guy was in the Alabama chapter of the same fraternity.
So the guy traveled cross country to work at the Springfield nuclear power plant?
I mean, maybe he went to school for nuclear power.
Maybe he did. And so I like how during the thing they're doing the handshake. The handshake was kind of funny. I mean, to be fair, so for those, I don't know if I mentioned this on the podcast, but I was in a fraternity as well. Yeah. To this day, I bet I still couldn't remember our secret handshake. I mean, I used it every day for 2-some years with my frat brothers, but I mean, it's been, 2005, so 16 years. So I'd be at a complete loss if I mean, maybe in the how you kind of remember things in the moment.
Yeah.
Maybe.
So now if you went back to your fraternity, you'd be like, yeah, I was a member here. Prove it with the secret handshake. You'd be like, shit, I don't remember that.
But what was funny is I actually do still have my fraternity handbook.
Nice.
So I bet it's in there. I bet I could just skim that pretty quickly.
And so we cut to Marge getting an ultrasound of Bart, who he looks to be fully developed. So she's probably in that 7 to 8 month range, I would assume.
Yep.
So we get some time lapsey here, and Bart turns over, and Dr. Hibbert goes, if I didn't know any better, I think he was trying to moon us.
I don't know if babies have that sort of mentality, but it is Bart. So
it is Bart. He is the demon spawn from hell.
Yeah. Maybe this Bart was the evil twin. Oh, we don't learn that yet.
That's a Halloween episode. That is non-canon.
You know what a joke is, though, right?
I do.
Okay,
it's
good.
Still non-canon. So we cut back to the interview process, and now they're doing a group interview thing,
which is so weird.
That is really weird. I've never done a group interview. I have done one group interview for it was a sales job, those kiosks you see at Sam's Club.
Yep. Yeah.
Sell, it was one of those jobs, and I booked it because I'm no, this is not what I thought the job was.
Yep.
And so they're doing the thing, and Smithers asks them what their greatest weakness is, and one guy says, "Oh, I work too much." The other guy said something else, and Homer goes, "Well, it takes me a long time to learn things." And Smithers goes, "Okay." And he goes, "Well, I'm also kind of a goof off." And Smithers like, "You can stop now." And then he goes, "I steal things and things from the workplace go missing." He's like, "All right, that's enough." So apparently Homer steals, he's lazy, and it takes him a long time to learn things.
Well,
probably don't want to.
How long?
Probably don't want to Homer.
Yeah. How long do you think it took him to turn the windmill?
I don't know. It's probably a good workout for the arms, though. The windmill.
Oh, I'm sure it is. Those blades have to be fairly heavy.
And so Smithers goes on to the next question. He goes, "Well, if there is a problem with the nuclear reactor, what would you do?" And Homer just
there's a problem with the reactor,
and he runs away. And he took the question way too literally.
We're all gonna die.
Oh my god! And he runs out of the interview. And so Marge is going through bills when Homer comes back, and it's second notice, all this other stuff. And he comes home and tells her he didn't get the job. I wonder why you didn't get the job, Homer. Maybe because you ran out of the interview. Homer promises, so like he feels Bart kick, and Homer promises, I love this. This is a great scene. So Homer promises the baby that the first thing that the kid will see is a man with a good job, and Patty and Selma walk by, hear him say this, and one of them goes, yeah, the doctor. And it's fantastic. Oh. It's a fantastic line. I love it. Because it fits their characters, and it's hilarious because Homer, let's face it, he's not a great employee.
Yep. No. I'll even if it was someone like, okay, like to be fair, let's say it was you, and you're like, when you come out, you're going to see someone with a really good job, and someone replies a doctor. Well, I think a doctor is pretty much a better job than anyone's job.
That is true. Well, it's a good paying job.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's one of the, like, a really good job. Obviously people enjoy doing it, otherwise we won't have doctors.
Yeah.
But they work long hours, they get harassed. I mean, I can't imagine it's like the greatest job in the world. Yeah, I'm sure there are good parts, but that's like any job. A job can be good if you enjoy it.
Yeah.
So then Homer decides he's going to go out and find a job, and we get a montage of Homer seeking new jobs. And in the background, while all this is happening, we hear Dolly Parton's song 9 to 5 play, because, you know, a typical job is 9 to 5. And so the first job up for Homer is at Ye Old Springfield, working at the Ye Old Candle Shop, and he's showing patrons how to make a candle, and he pulls one up, and it really does not look like a candle, and some kid cries.
Well, maybe it was supposed to be an artistic candle. We don't know. I mean, okay, so yes, there are candles that stick straight up and down, like birthday candles or, you know, classy chandelier candles, you know, from the mid-1700s. But maybe Homer was trying to make an artistic candle. We don't know.
It's Homer. He probably screwed it up. And I love how like they like, oh, you ruined our vacation.
Yeah.
And Homer has put in the stocks. And Homer gets fired from his job because he can't make candles, and the kid kicks him in the butt.
Yep.
Because, you know, reasons. And so then we go to our next job, where Homer is a door-to-door salesman for Slashco knives. And this old lady answers his door, and he's trying to sell her on this knife. And he's like, here, hold it. And
no, shake your hands with the future.
And he sticks the knife out. Unfortunately, he stuck it blade out, and the woman probably like cut her hand.
Yeah, he's like, handle first.
And clearly that job didn't last.
Well, I feel like if you slice someone's hand, yeah. So next up, he's a attack dog trainer at the Pitless Pup Attack Dog School.
No, not pitless. It's pity. I thought it was pitiless.
Is it pitiless?
I thought maybe it was supposed to be pitless. I don't know, but I definitely saw two eyes.
Yeah, there are two. Yeah, pitiless. I guess I don't quite understand the title. It's supposed to be like pit bulls, but I don't know. But he quit because he didn't like being attacked by dogs.
I thought you said you like dogs. Yeah, but I don't like getting attacked by dogs.
Yep. Next, Millions for Nothing seminar attendee. And it's a seminar dissolved when the presenter jumped out of a window to escape the police.
And I love how he's like, this is definitely not
one of those pyramid schemes.
It's a trapezoid of something. And they're like, yeah, this is clearly a pyramid scheme. By the way,
have you ever accidentally attended one of those?
I've never attended one, but I've had a couple people try to like get me to go into it. I
wouldn't say I was tricked, but there was a job for like a finance company. It seemed fairly legit. It was about like signing people up for like insurance or something weird, and I get to the place and they tell me about, oh, if you get this person to sign up for this and then blah blah blah. I'm like, this sounds like a pyramid scheme. Really sketch. And I sat in the room, and because I'm not gullible or stupid, I love messing with those guys. Like I asked them some of the craziest questions and like tried to keep them going as long as possible, kind of like they would have to me. And then I eventually never called them back. But that's the only time I've ever been kind of, I wouldn't say tricked, or I think the website said something specific about the job that I could have, and I was like, oh, this sounds kind of interesting. It's sort of sales, but and I'm never one for a commission-based job, but it seemed rather interesting or something I'd be good at. And then I get there, I'm like, nope, I'm out. Yeah. And so
by the way, it is illegal to call MLM strategies pyramid schemes, even though they are.
Yes, it's illegal to call them that. Wait, for us to call them that, or for them to say that at their pyramid scheme meetings?
No, I think if you can't, there's something with the wording with pyramid scheme and MLM, because they say they're not a pyramid scheme. It's some legalese bull crap.
Gotcha. And so next we get the repo men coming to collect all the stuff for the baby, as well as Marge's wedding ring, which is kind of sad. And I like how even the repo guy was like, repossessing things is the hardest part of my job.
That's your only job.
Yeah, I don't know if I could be a repo guy. I might feel kind of bad if I was that. You gotta kind of be heartless to be one of those guys.
Yeah.
And so
Homer's sad.
Yeah, Homer's sad. He can't hold on a job. All the stuff is gone. So while Marge is sleeping, we see him sulk over to a desk, and he grabs a pen and paper, and we get another notepad stationery, and this one is the pen of Patty stationery. And so Homer crosses off Patty and writes Homer. And so Homer writes a note for Marge. Dear Marge, by the time you read this, I will be gone. Like, where are you going? You deserve all the finest things in the world. And although I can't give them to you.
No, although I can give them to you,
they will be repossessed, and I will be hunted down like a dog. Also, it has become clear that your family doesn't want me here. I will send you every cent I earn for the baby, but you will not see me again until I'm a man.
I love the fact that during halfway through, Patty or Selma yells down and tells him to stop.
Shut up with that pen scratching down there.
God. How would you even hear that? It can't be that loud.
It's Homer. He presses really hard down on the pen.
Maybe.
Yeah, and so Homer just leaves. And I'm assuming he didn't leave Springfield, right?
No, he does not. No.
So in a small town like this, I feel like if Marge is out and about, and as we learned, Patty was out and about, and Selma were out and about, Marge would accidentally run into him at some point.
Maybe he just stayed in hiding when he wasn't working.
Yeah. Barney's apartment is pretty good hiding. But then we cut back to the Simpson house, and we see Lisa crying over this part of the story, which, hey, it's pretty sad. And Lisa's kind of an emotional girl. And I like how Homer tries to reassure Lisa, you know how everything turns out.
Just because you know how everything turns out doesn't mean it can't be sad.
Yep. And yeah, I mean, she wouldn't be there if he didn't become a responsible adult. And then Bart sneaks his head in. Is it okay if to have frosting for lunch? And Homer's like, sure. And then it's funny. Okay, so I do a lot of my episode rewatchings with my wife in the room. Yeah. And she is an avid fan of just eating frosting from a jar. And she looks over, I was like, Bart says that line, and look over at her, and I'm like, no. before she even has the chance to be like, can I have a can of frosting for lunch? I was like, no, you are not gonna Bart this one up.
God, that's pretty funny. And so now we cut back to the past, and Selma, Patty, and Mrs. Bouvier are consoling Marge, and Selma / Patty were like, well, we thought Homer would two-time you first before leaving.
Yeah.
Like they thought he was going to cheat. I don't see Homer as the cheating type.
Except he does think about girls at the golf course, apparently.
Okay. Now here's the thing. I don't think your wife listens to our podcast, so I'm going to ask you this question. You cannot tell me you haven't looked at other women or thought about other women while you've been in a relationship.
I mean, maybe not. Not to the point where oh, I'm gonna cheat on my wife.
Yeah, that's what I'm asking. You look at pictures.
I look at pictures,
or you see pictures. I shouldn't say you look. That's assuming. But women, I'm sure women look at men or think about other men when they're in a relationship.
I feel like women, it's more about Chris Hemsworth than anyone else, but that's
no. I'm sorry. It's all about Danny DeVito.
Oh, Danny DeVito? Right. Ooh,
actually,
man.
I've heard Danny DeVito is a really nice guy.
No, I'm sure.
So, I mean, who wouldn't want to be with a guy who treats you right?
Exactly.
Or a woman, whatever your preference is. So anyways, so we go to the Gulp and Blow, where Patty and Selma are eating lunch or dinner or tacos.
Yeah, whatever they serve at the Gulp and
Blow. And Patty, one of them gets like a hair in their food, and they're like, oh, that's why. And they see Homer working, and I love the fact that he like sprays cheese all over his arm.
Yep, that was so gross. And then Patty or something, I don't know, was like, ugh, and just drops the food. So a couple things I want to point out about the Gulp and Blow. The Gulp and Blow serves beer according to the drive-up menu. According to their drive-up menu.
Nice.
And instead of men and women, the restrooms at the Gulp and Blow are labeled gulps and blows. You decide who is which.
Why? Why is that a thing? Why? God, it's terrible. And so we cut back to Marge's house, and she's sitting there knitting, probably for baby Bart. And Patty and Selma come home, and she thinks that that they're Homer, but they're not. And one of them is just about to tell Marge where Homer is, and the other one stops them from telling Marge that Homer is at Gulp and Blow.
Yeah.
Which, God, at least one of the sisters has somewhat of. I'm assuming it's Selma, because doesn't Selma marry Troy McClure?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm assuming it was Selma, because Selma is not a heartless witch.
Yep.
And so Homer sends Marge some cash, and it seems like he sent her a lot of money.
I mean,
it looked like a couple $100.
I mean, working at the Gulp and Blow has its perks, I guess.
Perks, yeah. And so then we cut to Homer in his Gulp and Blow outfit, looking at the power plant, seeing workers walk in, and a donut truck's by.
Yeah.
It's like, they get free donuts? They get all the donuts, or they get all the donuts of the rainbow, because they're like all different colored frosting and whatnot.
And it's all sparkly as he drives into the power plant.
That is fantastic. And so we cut back, and Marge wants to find Homer, and I'm going to say Selma tells Marge, she's like, I have 2.5 words for you. Gulp and Blow.
Like, apparently N is half a word.
Well, it's a third of a word.
Yeah. I'd say a third, yeah, not a half.
So then we cut back to the Gulp and Blow, and Homer is sitting at the speaker for the drive-thru eating a bag of onion rings, which I'm assuming he shouldn't be doing.
Maybe you get free onion rings I guess I don't know what fast food workers get. I know they get free food, but it's more or less eating on a lunch break than.
Yeah. And so the speaker buzzes, and he asks the person on the other line what you want. And Marge responds, I want my husband by my side. And I love how Homer's like, do you want a side of fries with that? Which, to be fair, maybe she does. She's pregnant.
Yeah. Hey, maybe she's just craving Homer.
Okay, moving on from that statement. And so, they run out, they hug.
Hey, women get cravings during pregnancy. Homer could be one of those cravings.
I guess you're right. And so Homer tells Marge that he can't buy her a ring. And Marge is like, I don't care what kind of ring it is, as long as it comes from you. And he puts an onion ring on her hand. And she's like, oh, can we take it off? The oil is burning my skin. Which, to be fair, it's got to be really greasy.
Well, yeah, but it's so funny. I feel like the onion rings literally shrank throughout this scene. Because when Homer's eating them at the drive-thru, they're normal size onion rings. By the time he puts it on her finger, like, it literally shrank as it went to her. Like, he pulls it out of the bag, and as it got on her finger, it was almost like the size of her finger. I'm like,
maybe it was a small onion ring.
Magical shrinking onion rings.
Oh, man. And so Marge asks Homer if he knows why she married him, and he thinks it's because he knocked her up. And she goes, no, it's because she loves him. That's a an okay reason to marry somebody, I guess.
Yeah. And so Homer's like, he's like, all right, fine. You know what? He rips off his Gulp and Blow shirt to reveal an I Shot JR shirt.
And I actually got this reference. I never saw Dallas, but I've heard enough references to the TV show and the Who Shot JR thing that I recognize. I'm like Captain America when he goes, I got that reference.
Yeah.
Also,
especially in these early seasons of The Simpsons.
Yeah, I got it. Also, that episodes of Dallas, the Who Shot JR arc, also inspired the Who Shot Mr. Burns episodes.
So, I mean, once again, Simpsons writers and their old school references. Although Dallas was a
huge television show.
No, but I'm saying that's not like an old school reference. I don't want to say that's considered old school, right?
I think Dallas was 70s.
70s. So they're getting a little bit newer. We're getting out of the whole Twilight Zone and Wonderful Life era. So that's good. And so Homer marches back to the plant and just past the security guard, past a sign that says security checkpoint must show ID. Absolutely no visitors.
And the guard's just like, whatever.
And I love this shot of Mr. Burns playing Mrs. Pac-Man. He's like going away from the ghost, and he eats a pellet, and he's like, ooh, the tables have turned. He goes back and starts chomping up the ghost. That was all. And here's the funny thing I mean, you couldn't redraw it the way it was, I don't think. But obviously, when we saw Mr. Burns' office in season 1, it was, a tiny, basically, 12 by 12 office.
I have to say something about the Mrs. Pac-Man thing. So its initial release date was 1981. If Marge and Homer got pregnant in May of 1980, so you got June, July, August, September, October, November, December, January, February, March-ish. So depending on when Miss Pac-Man came out, this might not be a correct reference. Like, I don't have an exact date, but...
let's see. Miss Pac-Man, 1980. Oh, yeah. Initial release date, 1981. Nothing. Wow. That's kind of weird. They don't have
according to...
Oh, here we go. February 19... Oh, Miss Pac-Man is a 1982 Maze Arcade game developed by General Computer Corporation and published by Midway. So
this is a Simpsons.
Yeah. Here we go. I found it. Okay. February 1982 was the actual release date.
So did he get his hands on this prior, or is this a wrong
Simpsons mistake?
Reference? Is this a wrong reference date? Because this would only have been 81 when they had Bart.
Yep. Or even, yeah. So.
And actually, I was wrong on the theory. They'd be stuck in 1991.
Yeah. Yep.
1990, 1991.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, because if Bart was born 10 years prior, they were having that discussion. So, 1991 would be the year they were stuck in. So, if you guys heard it earlier in the episode where we said 1990, we're going to change that to 1991.
1990. But, so either is this a prediction from The Simpsons, or was Miss Pac-Man already in development and they knew about it, or was this just a wrong reference?
It was a wrong reference because remember, they wrote this episode in the 90s. Pac-Man already came out.
Yeah, that's true. So Simpsons,
they got something slightly wrong. Unless Mr. Burns, Mr. Burns was rich. Maybe he knew the people
got an advanced copy
of an arcade. Who knows?
No, I'm not letting the Simpsons off the hook for this.
Okay, all right. Gotcha. Yeah, Mr. Burns doesn't like the Japanese, right? Why would they give him a advanced copy of Pac-Man?
Right.
And so Homer bursts into the office and tells him that he's looking for someone who will take abuse and not stick up for themselves, that Homer's his man.
And when you tell me to do something, I will do it. I will basically just kissing his butt.
Yep. And then so Burns hasn't been this impressed since he saw Waylon Smithers. And this is the first time I think we get Smithers' full name.
Yep. I believe so.
Yeah. And so I like how Homer is like, okay, I'll give you the job. And then I like how, Homer leaves and then Burns asks Smithers, who is that man? Homer Simpson, sir. And then Burns like, I will remember that name.
Nope.
Nope. You will not.
That is a fantastic reference. I love that. That's great.
See, Mr. Burns hasn't quite hit Alzheimer's yet.
Clearly?
Yeah.
Maybe he remembered Homer's name like the first few years, and then like he just became another drone, and Burns like, I don't care about this guy anymore. I don't need to remember his name.
Yep, exactly. Yep. And so Homer goes home to tell Marge that he got the job, and she already went to the hospital because she was in labor. And so Marge's mom says she'll drive him to the hospital. But I like how we see that Marge's mom really dislikes Homer. So I don't know why at this point in time she'd be like, all right, well, I'll give you this one and drive you to the hospital.
Well, the other thing too, I was kind of thinking about it, and maybe Marge told her mom to stay back in case Homer came by. Yeah. But like my thought process is, why was she still there unless Marge asked her to stay? Yeah.
I mean, most parents would probably be at the hospital.
Yeah.
With their grandkid coming.
Yeah. And
yeah. So, well, it'd be, grandkid. Yeah.
Grandkid. And I love how like Homer's like, thanks, Mom. And she's like, never call me that again.
Yeah.
Because she likes him enough that she'll drive him to the hospital for the birth of his child, but not enough that he could call. Now, granted, you don't call your mother-in-law Mom.
No.
She's not your mom. You probably call her by her first name.
I don't usually call anyone anything. I just like, hey, you.
Hey, you.
Or I just start talking to him. I don't know. I sometimes I just kind of find it kind of weird. I don't know. Maybe it's just me. And so in the room, Homer's, trying to console Marge, and obviously Patty and Selma have, their crap to say, and Homer stands up to Marge's sister and tells that he's a nuclear technician, and and he's like, I got a good job now, and Homer's like, good God.
Good God. Oh my God. That's a great response. That's perfect response on hearing that Homer is going to be a nuclear technician at a nuclear power plant. And I like how he stands up for himself and he stands up to Marge's sisters. However, he got a little too uppity because he's like, I'm going to step back, doctor. I'm going to deliver this baby. And Marge is like, why don't we let the doctor deliver this baby?
Yeah.
And so, and that's a little bit after, but Homer he tells Marge, all right, the next day I'm going to get your ring back, and then I'm going to go house hunting. And Marge says, well, don't you start work tomorrow? And Homer's like, somebody will come for me. Oh my God. And this is where Homer is like so pumped up on adrenaline confidence that he shoves Hibbert away, and Marge is like, no, let the doctor do it. And then we see Bart is born. Homer is holding him. He's very happy. We see Bart with a lighter, and then he lights Homer's tie on fire. And he's like, I think he did that on purpose. And Marge's like, how could he? He's only 10 minutes old. And I feel like, now you might remember, the birth of your child. In the first 10 minutes,
I wasn't even holding my kid in the first time. I don't think I was I don't think so. Okay, so Elliot was born. He went to mom for a few minutes. Maybe I don't know if it was over. I guess time's kind of weird. Maybe I don't know if it was like for a couple minutes. Maybe cut the umbilical cord. And then immediately to the doctors for testing, blood draw, and all that stuff. And then he left, and, they did some other tests. And, I mean, it was probably a half hour, 45 minutes before he even came back in the room. But, there's no baby, no matter how,
even in 1980.
But, and I know Robert and his unrealicities. But obviously this is a cartoon, but there's babies when they're born can't grip, they can't do anything. I mean, it's
So it's fine if you don't like something that's unrealistic, but
at least I'm admitting it's an animated series and it doesn't make me angry.
But our listeners understand that I understand that it's a cartoon.
I don't think they do, man. That whole lawyer thing a few weeks ago, you just went completely off. I don't think they understood that you were that you thought it was a cartoon.
I understand it's a cartoon. I'm not going out there trying to drop anvils on people. I understand it's a cartoon.
Okay.
But I like a little realism in my cartoons.
Well, I don't know, but I think it's I'm glad Homer didn't choke Bart, but he's like, "Why, you little?"
Oh my god, that's great. And so we cut back to.
But I also okay, just one more thing. I just want to know where did Bart actually get the lighter from? Homer doesn't smoke.
No.
Unless he stole it from Patty and Patty and Selma are the only
10
people.
Minutes. But within 10 minutes.
Well, and they weren't even in the room. Remember, they got kicked out too. So unless Patty or Selma left their lighter just lying on the side table, which in the 80s, okay, I don't know. I don't know when smoking in hospitals became you can't do that, but I know in the past smoking in hospitals was allowed. So that's the only thing is I could think because don't they use Zippos? Because that was the type of lighter Bart had. I think Patty and Selma used Zippos for smoking.
No, I think maybe. I don't know.
We'll have to we'll watch that the next time because I think if that's what it was, I think Bart got a hold of Patty or Selma's lighter.
I mean, to be fair, when I was 3, I got a hold of a lighter. I don't know how, but I did. But granted, I wasn't 10 minutes old.
Nope.
And I could actually grip things.
Yep.
But to be fair, Bart is the spawn of Satan. So we cut back to present day where Homer is telling Bart, Lisa, and Maggie that he's grateful that he has them all. And Marge comes in. She tells Homer she's not pregnant. Homer jumps off the couch, dumping all the kids onto the floor, and they high five to end the episode. Because do they really want a 4th kid?
No.
Probably not. No, 3 is enough.
Yep.
So... I enjoy this episode. It's a good flashback. We get a little bit of backstory. We learn, how Bart is born and how Homer and Marge got married. However, it's not really an episode I think I would seek out. I don't think it's one of those episodes that grabs your attention where I have to watch this. It's there. It's a cute backstory. It's got some funny jokes. It really doesn't do much for me. It's not less than a 3, but it's not more than I'm going to give it a 3. Don't have a cowman. It's good, but it's not one of those great episodes.
No, I mean, I liked it. I think I'm going to go sprinkles a 4. I just love how Homer we do see Homer basically grow up in this episode. From the whole working at the mini golf to getting his job at the plant, which I still have no clue how he got it without A, applying, B, interviewing, B, C, showing some sort of college degree. And
Burns is the boss. He's got the final say. He's
Fair
the
enough.
one that hired
Homer. No. That's perfectly okay. And being that Homer says, "I'll do anything you tell me," I feel like maybe janitor. Homer could have got maintenance janitor guy, but nuclear technician without having a college degree, or any training whatsoever. I feel like nuclear technician step was a little bit high, but to give him a job. No, I don't think maybe. Yeah, I don't know how you get a job without interviewing and all that stuff. But if Burns, is going to give Homer a job out of the goodness of his heart, I would say mail dude, janitor, parking lot attendant, security guard. Something not that's gonna ruin people's lives if he messes up.
Correct.
But I do love Homer's progression. I like seeing how Marge is with Homer, even after 6 years. It's a pretty good jump in time. It's a really good jump in time to see where these characters are at this time, and obviously getting married, not the way that Marge was hoping. Even in when they're walking down the aisle, she's like, I'd be lying if I told you this is how I pictured my wedding day. But, you know, with no money, even Marge's job wasn't the best. Being a roller skate waitress. I mean, that doesn't pay well either. So, I mean, and what's even crazier is when we get to when Lisa was born and when Maggie is born, how Marge basically went from working as that waitress to being a stay-at-home mom. And that's where it's like, okay, how are they making enough money now?
Yeah.
To survive.
I mean, maybe that nuclear power plant job pays well enough.
Yeah, especially being here's
my question. But
he went from a nuclear technician to safety inspector.
So that's got to be a step up.
Yeah. So, well, I also think it was a created job too. Like,
yeah,
I don't think it was a job title that was technically there when Homer got his job in 1981.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna go for Sprinkles. I love just the way that the story kind of was and kind of. Yeah. I mean, I think someone that's married and has a kid and kind of seeing the progression, I kind of see a lot of linear stuff with it.
Yeah. So for me, I mean, I get the linear aspect. It's just meh. It's there.
All right. So why don't we delve into our character profile? And this week we have the Justice of Peace. That married Marge and Homer. So his occupation, bargain minister at Shotgun Pete's wedding chapel. I mean, I was hoping for an Elvis, but you know, we got him. His style, insensitive.
I mean, when you know he's like, oh, you may now kiss the bride, and they kiss and he yells next.
Yep.
And their wedding picture is not good.
Oh no, it's like their eyes are red. Remember though, in the 80s, man, red eye, that was a thing with cameras, man. The flash would go off and it would give you red eye. Yep. He tends to not bother learning the names of the people he is marrying. We are gathered here today in the sight of holy matrimony to marry Homer and Marge. Way he performs ceremonies with great speed.
I mean, that's what they're there for.
Yep, just to say I do and get out of here. And he believes a life of wedded bliss begins with $10 worth of chips.
I mean, why not?
Yeah. $10. So weddings cost $20. He gives them $10 worth of chips. So, I mean,
$10 wedding.
$10 wedding or $40 photos that didn't cost very good. Now you could take that to the casino and triple it and get
your money back.
So, I mean, why don't we finish off where everyone can find us? And you can go over to Instagram and find us, the Simpsons Did It Pod, Twitter, Simpsons Did It PC. You can find us on Facebook, the Simpsons Did It podcast. Just type it on in, join our page, and see all of our fun posts that we do on a weekly basis, because it's always fun to see what you guys think about, all my shenanigans,
Yep.
And if you guys still like our podcast, which I'm assuming you do because everyone's still listening and our audience keeps growing, but if you would like to support us to get fun giveaways and swag and whatnot, head over to buymeacoffee.com/SimpsonsDidIt and buy us a duff. Donate 5, 10, 15, 20, whatever you guys want to donate for us. We're appreciative of any donations you guys can shoot our way. And we'll send you some stickers and some other fun swag if you guys donate. So keep it on up. Lastly, head over to YouTube if you guys are YouTube fans and want to listen/watch our photo video of our podcast on there. Obviously, the episodes are a few weeks to a month behind. Obviously, we want to let everyone listen on all our other platforms before throwing it up on YouTube. I think eventually we might get caught up, but right now we're, I'd say about 13 episodes behind from YouTube to live here. But go over there and subscribe. That would be amazing for us to get a URL. I know there's enough people listening because I get to see how many views each have, but just click that subscribe button and and in the comments, let us know what you think of each video. We like our support, and any questions, comments, concerns, Email us, thesimpsonsdiditpod@gmail.com, or message us on Instagram and Facebook. So that's where you can hear all our content. So until next time, I'm Steven Skolansky.
I'm Robert Skolansky.
And this has been The Simpsons Did It.
Shh.